thought we knew about two gapping and bracket coverage, right? How'd you
Right.
guys how'd you guys respond to knowing the intricacies and kind of what it was supposed to do versus the results it may have yielded? And you guys still stayed the course because it was what you were taught to do.
I think with any scheme, you know what I mean? Like it isn't Madden, college football, you know, you can change the playbook every game thing type of thing. Like there's a
It
there's a
is.
cognitive. No, no, no. I don't think anybody understood that. Right, mid-season, you can't just fire everybody and change your playbook
Wait,
like
are you
video
sure?
games.
Are you
Oh,
I,
sure?
we can try it this week. I mean, we want to what
Some
do we want to
people want
do?
to. Some
Eh,
people want to.
But again, like you don't put all this like we don't get the sound bite that we want to make people stand about their wheelchairs. These guys aren't confident what the heck these coaches are calling. You know what I mean? Like let's be serious. That's the thing that gets me with these fans. Like we can have all the preseason hype, you know, this, that, and the other, and you know, a couple games go wrong or things, you know, maybe not as progressive as people want it to be in the program or with the offense, defense, especially whatever case it is. And we just throw everything to the fire, and it's like you can't win like that. And I don't understand. DB, you put a lot more time and accomplished more things in that jersey than I did, but I don't understand people who never even put on the uniform. They're that quick to just throw their hands up, right? You know what I mean? And just say, hey, this is who we are. It's what we like. I'm just never been that of that victim mentality. So it is frustrating when you have 2 weeks like we had where you got to kind of talk down. But I'm to the point with like DB, like my job is not to teach you how to fan, right? And
no.
I'm not gonna put myself in a I wouldn't say a personal bind, but just a mental deadlock with somebody that does
It
not
is
even
hard
want to
though.
even budge. It's hard. It's hard. You want to
It's
help people. You have a very kind heart, DB. I don't know if anybody told you that.
oh, Robbie makes fun of me, so I like the way you say it better.
I make fun of him because he gives people way too much leeway, myself included.
I
You know,
prefer your version,
I
MRI.
call I call him the good piece of cheese guy, right? Like he could have a terrible sandwich. The bread is all moldy,
Doing too
the
much.
meat's disgusting, but he's like, "Oh, that piece of cheese on there, that's pretty good." Like
that's a pretty good Havarti right there.
he will find the good piece of cheese in every turd sandwich.
It's in there somewhere. You just got to
Oh
search
man.
long enough.
And I'm like, "Hey, bud, sometimes it's just a turd sandwich."
I did this
Yeah, that's
morning and
true. With some
uh,
good cheese.
I relented. I said, was it on or off air? I go, man, there are some real dummies out here. Like
I think it was
Yeah.
off air.
I just I'm floored. And so now I'm to the point where I just kind of want to you're going to be like, why? But I just kind of want to spend some time around them just to see like if that's how they always operate. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like,
You're a process guy. You want to see how what their process is. Good or
Yeah.
bad. Good or
yeah,
bad.
right?
I just want to see them go down in flames in their real life when they try and act like it. That's what I want.
Hey,
Well,
look,
we'll never find out because there's a profile picture of someone else or a dog or some other BS.
my
Show your
favorite
face,
follower of Christ.
right? Show your face. Clay,
Um,
Clayton Bisbee. Clayton Bisbee. We want to see your face.
just
Incredible pull. Incredible pull.
all right. So let me ask you something because I told this I was leaving. This was Sunday morning. Whenever I messaged, and I had just done one of the breakdowns. I go, man, am I right? It seems like anecdotally, all these runs kind of seem the same that are like 20 or 25 yards or more. Not just the ones that go for
Mhm.
touchdowns, but long runs. And so then I tried to go back. Michigan was first. Maryland was really obvious, where they intentionally utilized schemes that I hadn't really seen them employ the week or weeks before.
Mhm.
So so I mean, imitation is the best form of flattery, right?
Right.
How if defensively, how much are you working on those concepts that are beating you, whether you see your opponent run it or not, versus okay, they're getting us with this. This is sound. We're going to try to just beat this with sound defense, even though it hasn't worked yet. Before, like there's that position of, well, this is just football, right? Head down, you get down. Don't try to
Right.
back a gap. Versus, well, they're doing this intentionally because we play it this way.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I would say uh, there's an obvious something on film, and we can say it or we can you know assume what it is, but those coaches know. So it's something obvious on film that teams are seeing, right? That they feel like, okay, we may not be a big this team, but this week versus Nebraska, we're gonna be this team because we know they're not. That's I mean, Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh. I mean, that's great coaches do that, right? Uh, so I think it's hard because I think even Butler kind of said it. Like even after that long run, he said he got less aggressive and even kind of. I didn't really look much at the pass game, was just focused on the run game. And you can tell in the run game, right? He was a little gun shy to send guys, stunt guys.
Well,
After that,
he did that against Michigan.
yep,
They just flipped sides of the field, and instead of going for 71, it went for 54. Is
yep.
exact same concept.
Same concept. Yep. And I mean, it's
He tried the ET. I mean, he's tried
yeah.
it both ways.
He's tried it. Yeah, he's tried it. He's played it, and I think this is the least amount of stunt movement I think I've seen from them all year. Not a lot of and I'm okay with that because looking at the game, I mean, looking at the film beforehand, again, a lot of fans aren't privy to that. Like, going back and actually watching what the other team does going into the game is just a Nebraska didn't do this type of thing. Um, but again, like you said, when you go and watch the film, they're not living in certain schemes, but when obviously Nebraska shows up, that's what they're hitting. So they haven't been hit with a lot of stunts. And I thought that was Butler's plan going into it. Like, hey, we're not gonna stun a lot, we're gonna play, straight up. And you know, there was times where they couldn't hold a point, right? They were getting pushed on the inside, right? The edges were getting decreased, right? Because we were coming down too hard inside, things like that. Um, so again, you want to fire everybody, right? But at some point, I mean, the salary these guys earn isn't just about winning and recruiting. Like they got to be problem solvers, right? And sometimes they be problem solvers before the problem happens. Well, we know the obvious problem right now, and I think Butler's, I wouldn't say throwing stuff at the wall, but he's trying everything he can within his right his ability to be able to help stop stop these gash and runs. But I think at the end of the day,
What
it's
about?
got to be execution. It's got to be execution. Guys got to execute. I don't know how any other way to put it.
I was just getting ready to say, at
I mean,
what at what point, if I know,
mhm,
I guess playing somebody else is always an answer, right?
right,
But you would assume they're trying to win games,
right,
right? But I also know coaches don't always play the best players; they play the guys they trust. So get
right.
that out there. But I know, like, listen, if I'm at the point of attack and I'm a strong side A gap guy, but
Hmm.
I'm gonna take kind of the easy path. I'm gonna slip behind and see if I can still make the play, even though I'm an A
Yep.
gap run fitter,
Hmm.
and everybody else is compromised, or I
Right.
see two down blocks and I don't get down, or I see
Yep.
face mask and I don't split. Like those things, that's not scheme.
Yeah. It's not
And
smooth.
and I have a hard time believing it's coached. So
Yeah.
how do I get myself out of, well, if you're allowing it, the
Oh
whole,
my God, DB. Yeah. Yeah.
well, you know what people say when they want the outcome they want, right?
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
why I say it.
Yep.
But
That, that
so that's where we're at.
yeah, that's where we're at. I mean, and again, like you're saying, like this is basic day one fall camp block recognition that we're not getting. And again, I said it. Maybe it's too early. I don't know. But inexperience can't keep being the only reason why we're not executing. You know, um, just a willingness to do your job. You know what I mean? Especially
Like
when things are
over and
tough.
over and
And, oh
that.
yeah,
So that's the thing. That's what I kind of want to hit on, right? Because that's where I'm talking about with you with having to have the resolve in the scheme that you're playing. It's
plastic
week
spoons.
8, 9, whatever. And teams, the defense is built to give up. I mean, it's not gonna be a havoc tackles for loss deep run fitting team you're playing on,
Right.
right? Like,
Right.
so you have to be patient with it. At
Hmm.
what point does the repetition kick in, or have you done it long enough to know that you're going to be okay? Because right now I think they're so young in it that they haven't come out of the back end to have the resolve. Like I
Right.
think that's part of it, but we don't really talk about that openly. We just want
Yeah,
it.
no,
Like sometimes
it's
you just
more
have to go through it to know
right.
that you trust it.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it's not a video game, right? We can't do a bunch of hot routes because we, know that they're. Hey, we all know they're running the C gap, but we can't compromise like the overall integrity of our defense. Um, by doing that. I mean, I think that people just gotta continue to get educated on ball, man. I think that's the biggest thing. Like it, it, there is no magic pill. All right, there is no magical defense. I mean, teams have one running a tip, but two teams run one of quarters. Teams have run one running man. There's no magical scheme. Guys have to execute, right? And we don't know what their coaching cues are. We don't know what those things are during the week. But I mean, ball is ball, like you said. Someone crosses your face, your gap's in between. You got to stay in the gap. I mean, it's plain and simple. And that's where I think it's kind of got to a no nonsense kind of tone from uh Rule, also
Yeah, yeah.
from Butler with the
You
defense. They're
can
like,
you
hey,
can
like,
hear it.
yeah, you can hear it. Like, hey, like it's time. Like, there's no more excuses. We've seen enough football. We know how they're attacking us. Let's go play, you know?
Michael, let me ask you this. When you're talking about guys that, the kind of the willingness or the commitment to doing your job and fulfilling your role, how much of it of what you're seeing for Nebraska, and maybe it doesn't matter in practicality, it feels like it might as a fan, but how much of it do you think is guys who just are not either focused or willing to do their job in the way that it needs to be done? And how much of it do you think is guys, especially at the second and third levels, where they either don't trust their eyes or just aren't seeing it fast enough?
Mm.
I'll I'm not there Monday through, you know, Sunday.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
tough.
won't say they're not focused. I won't say that because I think that's sometimes unfair,
Mhm.
unless Rule completely comes out, which he kind of, I mean, maybe he did really kind of say it. Um, with kind of his comments during the post game or during the presser. Um, it again, it's tough because we don't know what's being coached throughout the week.
Mhm.
But I think there's a fine line between um, guys learning on the fly, but also have needing to execute on the fly. Like I think like for this unit with how much inexperience especially have, quote unquote, as of now, um, going into a game was be game 8, right? I believe game 8.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, that th- at the end of the day, we just got to execute. I think the reps should be getting to the point, like DB said, where things are familiar and it's more not reactionary, but I am moving as my key tells me to move, right? And not being a step too late or step too early. Right. I'm seeing it and reacting in an efficient manner. And I think they're still trying to find their guy. Like even this week, like we saw some different guys play a little bit heavier roles on the D line this week than previous
Yeah, like
weeks.
95. Like
I
yeah.
saw a lot more Gabe Moore.
Yeah,
So
a lot more Gabe Moore, a lot
uh,
more. And what I don't know, I can't pronounce the German guy,
Hufkin.
German guy's name. Man, he
Yeah.
had some reps. Would love
Yep.
to see him. Would love to
Wearing
see more
what
of
was
him.
wearing 39.
39. Yeah.
So
39. Yep.
here's the thing though. So and I get it because you guys just got to bear with us here for a second because this is just coaches
Coming,
and
come.
talking
Yeah,
is coach.
we're coming through cable wires. They're
So,
all tangled up right now. Uh,
so how much of whether you see gap scheme or pen and pulls or whatever the philosophy is from an offensive
mhm.
line, how like everybody's different, but you have to see it X amount of times before you
Right.
know what it feels like when
Uh,
guys want to come off or
yeah.
they're trying to scoop you versus
Hmm.
reach or like that comes from experience. Are you
Right.
can you change your practice habits enough? Can you change the way that you practice against it where you can still get multiple guys in, but get them the reps that they need to know what it feels like?
Yeah. I, I, I,
Do
I
you
mean, I
think
would, I
that's a
would,
thing?
I think, I do think it's a thing. I would. Just being a coach, I would hope at this point we see enough reps to be a little bit more consistent with our play against that scheme. But I tell you what, now that I think about it, as a linebacker, just thinking of my personal experience, I loved facing gap scheme, right? In gap scheme, right, there
Well,
is kind of one
because
direct spot that the ball's going to
you're a
hit.
hit it, split it kind of guy. You
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
downhill.
But more offensively thinking, like it has an aiming point, right? Think about zone, right? I mean, zone can hit. You can run the same mid zone play 4 times in a row, and it may hit in every single gap, A, B, C, D, right? So
Yep.
there's a lot more variance of where it hits. So for young linebackers, right? All week we're yelling at the scout team running back. No, they run an A gap, they run a B gap. But when we get in the game, they're going C and D, coach. Like
That's right.
you know what I mean? And I think that's a big part of it.
You
And then
saw it on the long run. Merritt clearly wants to play cutback.
yep,
Right?
yep.
He's a backside run fitter. He
Hmm.
knows Marquez Watson Trent's he's gotta fit it snug.
Back to him. Yep.
But when Judy decides to go underneath to take the path of least resistance, like everybody's
Hmm.
compromised. Like right now,
Everybody's compromised. Yep.
everybody's compromised. And
Yep.
it's like,
Yep. That's where D line. That's why it's so important, man. That's like like you said, being compromised. I'm watching Scandal right now. My wife, we're rewatching it, and we're at the part where they have a mole. They're trying to figure it out, like who's the mole, and right. That's kind of like what it is up front, right? You compromise yourself, right? You go inside like that. You leave the second level and third level in a bind that where now we have to play on the roll or play fast on the run, right? And have to be at a gap exchange. And again, for young linebackers that are looking at like, okay, I'm trying to minimize the game, maybe minimize my vision where I'm not seeing the whole picture, right? I'm expecting the ball to hit here. I'm expecting the guy to do this. So
yeah,
they're looking at more of the X's and O's on the pages instead of looking at more free flow and then, hey, like this guy is basically, I mean, those zone schemes, sometimes they're telling you, hey, don't even worry about gap. Read the Mike backer. Who we identifying? Okay, we IDing that guy. He goes in, you go outside. He goes outside, you stay inside. Like, so that's why I mean, zone is much harder for a D line, younger defensive lineman, younger linebacker to be able to play. And even you talk about playing quarters and like even some of the man stuff where we're playing my man, my fit. That's not easy on safeties as well, coming down to the box, right? And so, like I
but
said, I would
quarters
hope you have the reps though.
quarters is tough, right? You have to rep it a ton in practice, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they do. But do
You know,
you?
another thing, deep. Sorry, go back. Sorry,
No,
DB.
no, no. Go
But
ahead.
going
Go ahead.
going back to that quarters thing, I think the one of the biggest things we never talk about how we can defeat that plus one from the safety, and we've seen it all year against Nebraska.
Yep.
Reduce the splits of the receivers. We're not even going to block the second level. We're going up to the safeties, and we're going to
We're
make
just
your corner get in a fit every single time.
yeah.
And that's been the killer with that boundary run. We've seen it. We've seen it with all those long
That's the
runs.
second long run against Michigan. It's the one
Yep.
that the guy from Maryland hit
Mhm.
Nebraska
Hmm.
on. He condensed
Yep.
set. They leave
Yep.
him. Number two gets right to safety. I even
Hmm.
asked you in the Michigan game if could Rex have made the play if his head is on the other side as a man, my man guy. But they're already
Yeah.
getting them. They're leaving the corner.
Yep. Yep. They're leaving the corner. Yep.
So
Yep.
like I see what they're trying to do, but
Hmm.
if you are gonna gap exchange or and I would teach it kind of like crack replace. I don't want to get super techie, but
Yep.
if we're gonna exchange responsibilities, how often do you think you have to see that as edge setters? Like that's a feel thing.
I mean, after Michigan, that's got to be an EDD. You know what I mean? And that's the
And
thing. I,
like
I
as
think
you
that
mean
as you,
he means everyday drill.
yeah, yeah, everyday drill. Like after, and you know how it is, DB. We could have the greatest, the grandest idea about what we think our team unit position group is going to be in June, July, August. September comes, we start to see, okay, hey, this is where we're actually vulnerable at. Okay. And so we have to adjust our practice structure to that. Okay. Hey, let's take this drill out because we're not seeing a lot of this week, or we're not getting a lot of this. And let's add this. And this is not saying they're not, guys, they're paid very, very highly, right? They spend a lot of time, probably 18 to 19 hours on football every day. So I'm not saying they're not turning over every stone, but again, it's just got something that's got to click on the field because you've seen too
I,
many times that the guys are like, it is 3rd and 2, and we're playing quarters on the backside, some form of quarters or man match on the backside, and they go get the safety, and our corner is still backpedaling. You know, what I mean, it's just the situational awareness
and
sometimes
I
too
would
that's just lacking a little bit.
I would guess they could either get a switch or a flip call on the backside, right? I should
Yeah.
ask. I have pretty good access. I should just ask the question. But You
Mhm.
still have to see it
Right.
quick enough to fit it, right?
Mhm.
So I said this. This is beautiful. So I think Monday, Ravi, remember, or
Mhm.
Tuesday, I said this has to be a deal where Nebraska has seen some of the schemes so often now that give up the same big play. Whether your opponent runs it or not the week
Yep.
before, you have to rep that concept. You just have
Mhm.
to do it over, and
Over
it's
and
going to
over again.
feel to the players like you're chasing ghosts because it's like,
Mhm.
well, may or may not
That
do that. But
right.
And
I watched Michigan run outside zone, and I hadn't seen them do it
Good. How you doing?
in 3 weeks previous. So it's like they game plan too.
Yeah. No, they game plan too. I mean, you guys probably do the same thing on Mondays where whatever you got hit with, or maybe Sundays, or you got
Yeah,
hit with on Saturday, right? Their first period on Monday is usually a correction period. It's usually
yeah.
going through 10
We
to
invent ways that they
right.
would block us because of what we hadn't been good at the week before. We're like,
Yep,
well,
exactly.
they don't fold block, but these guys fold, and this is probably
Right.
what this is how
Mhm.
I. Yeah, we do it all the time.
Yeah,
We
yeah, and I think that's important. And again, not saying they're not doing it, but again, just got to get it to happen. You gotta get the guys to execute it, and that's where we're at, right? And again, like we talked about Butler and all the things he's tried to do to alleviate those things. Um, but at a certain point, we got to execute. You got to do your job.
Yeah, because you get the sense. I don't know. I don't want to ask you a leading question. He comes across as extremely bright, like a good teacher.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep. Oh
So,
for sure.
and it's hard for me to just say, well, they got to play better. But I'm hearing
Hmm.
you say it too, right? Like,
Yeah. Like
you,
you
you,
don't want to say that. Like I mean, especially as I mean, we're coaches now. We don't have really affect the game once the ball's kicked off. So it's like I mean, I've used all my resources, you know what I mean? And at a certain point, maybe I gotta give a different coaching cue. Um, whatever it is. It could be, and then you know what, D, we could be talking about all this schematical stuff, and you know how it is. It might be something personal going on with a guy. It might be the XYZ that's going like you just never there's so many stones you can turn over other than the scheme part to get the guys to execute. Hey, maybe I need a little more buy-in from this guy. So maybe I need to spend a little more time around him during stretch. Maybe he's not been the same guy he was that we expected from the summer, right? But maybe I need to reach out to him, and maybe on the outside the football thing, at football level, I need to communicate with this guy a little better so I can get him to trust me that hey, when I say I need you to fit on the backside, I need fit it. You know what I mean? Fit it like like we've been coached to do, like you're capable of doing. So there's a lot of things that I think this staff, can be looking at and working at to help these guys, just be better on Saturdays and
it's just,
execute.
it's the main reason why I'm just reluctant, because I think some people, not all, I think some people want to learn and get it right versus be right. But I find
Yeah,
myself going
yeah,
down rabbit holes of, I'm not going to throw the bait. Like I can eat the meat and spit out the bones, right? Where
right.
I can say what I don't have to bury guys or coaches because I know that
Hmm.
they're going through this with these guys for the
In real
first
time.
in
In real
absolute
time.
for the first time. Like Nebraska, I was given examples of losing to like Syracuse in '84, Iowa State in '92, and inevitably I'm going to get the, well, that doesn't make any sense. These guys haven't earned the right to look down to an opponent. You got no. See, you're missing the point.
point.
It's not
Right.
the
Yeah.
the point is your reference point is only your reference point.
Right.
Like it belongs to you. So
Yep.
whether we had earned the right or not, we should have been even further past what we did
Yep.
than in that moment, right? We should have been
Yeah.
better than that. So imagine if
Right.
you're not there yet with a frame of reference. Oh man,
Right.
what do you mean this is
It's like
fool's gold?
it's
What
like
do you mean this is fool's
where's the
gold?
title entitlement come from?
We
You know
like
what I mean?
we've
This point.
we won. What do you mean I should have fit that? But we won. No, see, that's going to end up costing you against the
Hmm.
team that commits to it.
Right.
You guys have to understand that. Oh, we got you, coach. We got you, coach. No, I'm telling you, like this is going to happen. No, we got you, coach.
Hmm.
And then it happens, and it's like, man, they tried to tell us.
Right.
You, like we've all, I don't. I've been there. I know you've been
Hmm.
there.
Right.
Where it's like, sometimes you just have to feel what it feels like so you
Hmm.
cannot go through it again.
Yeah. Yep. But some people are glutton for pain, and
Well,
despair
those are the
and
guys that got to sit their
depression.
ass down. Like you,
Yeah.
you, yeah, you got to go find something else different to
Yeah.
do.
You gotta find something else to do.
Yeah, that's lazy.
But I think no, I think that's a good point again for I mean outside of the Memorial Stadium, those guys like people have their comments and stuff like that. But I think that's a big thing with either wanting to get it right or wanting to be right. I think people conflate and confuse those two things.
Yeah, like I just
So
when
it's
you hear
interesting.
those two coordinators sounded like guys that had had a talking to. But
Yeah.
and people will say, "Well, Coach Rule makes all the money, like it's on him too." No. So do you know what he's thinking? He's probably like, "Man, shoot. I had this,
Hmm.
this, and this. This is new for me too. I got two
Right.
accomplished guys. They're really smart. I'm kind of new in
Hmm.
this PE role. I tried it this way. It didn't work for me. So this week I've got to be like he's doing the same thing
Hmm.
because
In
he's
real
going
time.
through it for the first time too."
Yep. 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 And I mean, you see that. I think they're, you know, I, I think he treats his job as his own, as its own. I mean, I think he references Temple and Baylor, but I think he sees the difference in the structure in Nebraska that's a little bit
Oh,
different.
good, good, good,
Um,
good.
but
Uh,
I think, like you said, he's going through this right now. For his first time. And I think um, Troy Dana said it during the weekly press conference, things like that. That basically, this has been, I guess, doing. This has been basically 15 years, what I mean, for, the Husker fans, maybe probably longer, but
I know some
it's
people
been
didn't want to. I know some people didn't want to hear that, but I
yeah,
understood what he was
I
saying about
understood what he's saying. Yeah.
conditioned.
Yeah, it's a condition thing. You know what I mean? You have to help yourself get better. How you doing, Dr. Sharp? You have to you have to see it through, man. Like I don't do we just fold up the Nebraska football program and say, oh, woe is me. Like I don't get it. Like, you know, I keep seeing the tweets from different columnists. Like we all said this was gonna be a 8-win, 9-win team. Like where do you think that the 3 to 4 losses are gonna come from, guys? Like again, this team still has an opportunity to go compete and have undefeated rest of the season. I still think that's capable. Capable for them. Especially with Penn State and kind of their debacle right now. And obviously USC is playing really well. UCLA has improved, but still, I don't think that's out of the question for them to for sure be bowl eligible, but also be an eight win team. So I think we're all processing that. I think even with the possibility of us being to clinch a bowl game the past 2 weeks, maybe there's been an added pressure there. Just with with the staff and things like that. But I mean, you go back to that thing, and I sent it to you, DV. I was like, that was one of the more telling things I think I've ever heard a Division 1 coach or
Mhm.
even any coach at a high college level say I had a hard time convincing my assistant coaches. And that was I love and I hated people saying they hate the transparency from Rule, but it's like what I mean, okay, he's in the CEO mindset, CEO position. Like what CEO is coming out is Nike, is Phil Knight coming out saying, hey, I had a hard time convincing my guys that Adidas was on our butt and trying to like there is a openness about Rule that you have to love and appreciate. And like you said, it sounded like from the tone of the two coordinators that hey, assistant coaches wait outside for 5 minutes. Let me talk to these guys. Let me get this squared away because I know with their mentality. I've talked to Mosey about how working for Dana. Loves working
I've
for him, but
watched him
he is a
stop
grinder.
practice.
He's
I,
a grinder. He's a
he has
grinder.
stopped practice over a difference
So
in 4 minutes. So
if
like,
if you don't think SHIT is rolling downhill in those assistant coaches off rooms, oh you're crazy. Both of those guys have a um I don't want to that's not the word. They have a way about themselves that let you know that they have just as much put in as far as like their you know them owning right their side of the ball as much as we're owning the whole program.
yep.
And so with those two guys, I think you're gonna see it corrected. And you gotta think this staff is not the oldest staff, right? This is not the most like, hey, 10, 15 year like you got Danny, you got Butler, but like a lot of those guys in those positions are guys that are still under 10 years, coached in college football, right? So there's still maybe some younger tendency as far as even coaching, like getting complacent about things. That happens. People don't talk about it, but that happens, right? And to hear Rule come out and say that, I think that was at first I was like, oh shoot, I don't know if that's
No,
a good
I
thing,
like the
a
fact
good
that he
look.
said it out loud because I liked his self-awareness because he's so
Yeah.
competitive. He's going to be just
Yep.
as hard on himself. Like
Yep. Yep. And
he'll
I
get better.
think that was as much as people saw it as him calling out the coordinators. I think that was more of him admitting publicly he allowed that to happen.
Yep.
And there's two ways you can always see those type of things, right? And I think we've kind of seen, not kind of, we have seen a rule that what he's telling us, he's going to be transparent. I'm sure he's getting his message over to his guys, tenfold. It's being echoed throughout the team meeting room. So, again, I like the self-awareness. Like I was a little thrown, like I sent you that message. I was a little thrown back. I was like, I don't know, I don't know about that one.
I
I
get
don't
it because
know,
it looks
but I
weird,
get it.
right?
Yeah,
To
looks
the
weird to say that. Yeah,
especially to men,
yeah, to
right?
men.
But
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
because we don't admit things like that out loud. But
Yep.
now that I told Ravi this on Monday, once he says that out loud, he gives himself no more wiggle room for
Yep.
he himself is. That's how I looked at it.
Now
I
you
didn't
have
Yeah.
look
to.
at it like
Now you have
he's
to.
rolling his guys. He's like,
Hmm.
oh, I put it out there now. So if it happens
Right.
again, I told you
I told you. Yeah.
that I was not going to
Yep.
let that happen. So
Hmm.
I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah. Looking at it again, I don't mind it at all. And again, I think it maybe puts more skin in the game for those assistant guys. That like, hey, when you're working for bigger bigger named or maybe accomplished guys, you maybe a lot of deferring, like, hey coach, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And maybe Butler and Dan's like, hey man, like I told you what we need to do. Like just do it. Like you know what I mean? I don't need to coddle you, I don't need to baby you, I don't need to, set up your position drills for you. What you see the film, you see what your guys struggling with, get after it. And I'm telling you, I have no doubt in my mind that after Dana and Butler left Rule's office, hey, text message, assistant coaches, my office now. Like I'm very positive that got nipped in the butt. And I've been around practice this week, but I would assume it's a fire lit under some tails. Not just in guys in helmets and shoulder pads, right? I think some of those assistant coaches probably got a little talking to and said, hey, we need you to have some skin in the game and make sure these guys are ready to play. Because I mean, Butler, Dana, Rule, they can't do it all. It's the reason why you got that big of a budget for a support staff. Let's support and let's do our jobs.
That's Michael Rose-Ivey, former Husker. Michael,
Good as it gets.
great stuff as always. We appreciate the
Man,
time. We'll talk next week.
appreciate you fellas, man. We're gonna get a win Saturday. We'll get back on the
Yes,
board.
sir. All right,
Let's
MR.
go get it.